What is going on, guys? So if you do not know, the elite classes will not be returning to Battlefield 5. Instead, it seems like DICE wants to take a deeper dive in the development of the individual classes themselves. Alongside, DICE is introducing a pretty interesting squad leader call-in system where your squad leader is able to call in everything from a supply drop that will resupply you with ammo to even the V1 rocket. So I'll get into more of that in a little bit, but I first want to discuss my first initial reactions to hearing the elite classes not returning to Battlefield 5. If you're familiar with my channel, you would know that I definitely have enjoyed playing with these elite classes, but I think I understand a little bit where DICE is coming here. I think they want to make a bit more of a competitive game, and having the elite classes has always been kind of a justified OP weapon on the map. Now, it's fun to use it, but definitely not fun to be on the other end of it. I do think having elite classes on smaller game modes like TDM was always a bit extreme in my opinion, and I was very happy to hear DICE abolish weapons like that on those smaller game modes. Didn't think it was quite as bad to have it on the larger game modes where it was 32 versus 32, but I still again understand you would want to essentially get away from power weapons and those power armor on the map for any player to, you know, grab quicker than another player, and kind of tilting the balance a bit with that. Now, I've always loved the loadout classes way more than having, you know, power weapons or powered armor on the map for you to get to give you the advantage. I've always felt like there's a bit of RNG in that. If your teammates weren't doing well, or you know, something weird happened, it wasn't really in your control. But having the loadout classes does put you in control to find the balance between what soldier will win you in this situation, and you know, if you begin to lose in another situation, you can then swap back to the home screen and then move into another class. And even on the other side of the spectrum, the loadout classes do very well where it introduces you to something in the battlefield and you're not left with that scavenger mentality where you have to pick up weapons on the map in this RNG type of fashion, if you know what I'm talking about. So I've always been a big fan of loadout classes, and seeing how DICE is introducing a deeper version of this has me pretty excited. We'll be seeing the return of the Scout, Medic, Assault, Support, Infantry classes alongside the Tanker and Pilot classes, though haven't heard too much talk about both of those, especially the Pilot class, so I'll make mention about that a little bit later in my video. But DICE seems to want to introduce a deeper progression system for these individual classes, and how they're doing that is by the Archetype. Now, this essentially is the deeper progression of your individual soldier, moving away from one class fits all situations and making it more where you'll be really good at one individual thing. So you'll see, if you branch off a little bit with the development of this Archetype soldier, that you may be kind of good at attacking air and kind of good at attacking infantry, but if you progress into what DICE is calling an exotic archetype, you will be really good at one specific thing. The image you're seeing here is an example of those exotic archetypes. This one here is called the Recon Paratrooper, and it's described as a stealthy, short-range, behind enemy lines gameplay exotic archetype. Kills silently using suppressed SMGs and silent gadgets. Now, what I'm hearing about this progression system is it's like a progression branch, and for your infantry soldiers, you have two things you'll progress, which will be for the soldier itself, where you could progress everywhere from things like the agility or the health regeneration, or even, you know, having silent footsteps possibly. And then the other progression like system where you'll have again that progressive branch will be the weapon itself. So I'm assuming that would be things like the suppression on that SMG to make it silenced, and you know, even I would say gadgets themselves. We could have things like silent throwing knives. So imagine things like this being introduced for your individual class on the battlefield to really begin to dive into these deeper loadout classes and what we had seen previously in Battlefield 1. You'll be able to find these unique soldiers in your company, which from my understanding is just a special loadout screen where you'll have all these unique archetypes you've created. So you can go in there and choose which one you want to spawn in the battlefield with. I am as well hearing there won't be any reprogression off of that progression branch system in areas that you've already unlocked. So if you want to create a new soldier and develop a new archetype, and let's say you have progressed already the left side of that branch system, when creating that new archetype you won't have to re-go over that left side again, but you can then branch off to another side for that specific archetype. So hopefully that means a really solid progression system, which is pretty lengthy and has a lot of content to it. So definitely be on the lookout for those special events like the Tides of War that we've been hearing a lot lately, as that may be those unique events where there will be items for us to unlock and maybe more points for us to progress through this branch system quicker. So definitely be on the lookout for events like that, as it seems like the only way for you to improve with your soldier is just by grinding out the game. DICE has made it pretty clear that there won't be no pay to win system here, so just by playing the game is the best way to progress with your actual soldier. Now to talk a little bit about the two vehicle classes, I have heard the tanker class will have that tree-like progression system. I'd imagine the pilot class would have the same. So to speculate a little bit, you could unlock maybe increased armor for your vehicle. I have as well heard there will be like cosmetic items you can unlock. So we've seen things like tree logs on the side of the tank in the reveal trailer. So certain things like that could as well tie into maybe areas off of the progression system that you have made it to that would alert enemy players that you are this type of unique archetype on the battlefield. But like I had made mention at the very start of my video, I haven't heard too much about either of these classes, especially the pilot class. So it has me very curious what DICE could be doing here. Now this is just me speculating, of course. If you have checked out my fortification video where I go into depth off of that new builder tool, and in that little snippet of video we saw from the reveal of this builder tool in action, we see at the very end a tank spawn in. So it made me very curious if possibly the only way for you to access these vehicles on the map is by maybe building a tank depot. So makes me pretty intrigued what DICE could be doing here. We know from this squad leader call-in system you'll be able to call in different tanks like the Churchill Crocodile flamethrower tank and even the Stern Tiger tank. So again, leaves me more speculation off of what they're doing here with the vehicle system, but it could just be them trying to introduce a little bit of some type of powered weapon you can call in now that we don't have elite classes, as this squad call-in system gives you the ability to call in things like the V1 and JB2 rockets. You call in different heavy weapons and even things like smoke barrages and supply drops. So it seems like they're giving a little bit of a nod to the lapse of there being no elite classes in the game. So pretty interesting here. Again, they're not going to be completely overpowered, as from what I'm hearing, if you pick up things like heavy weapons, they don't give you heavy armor and you can't resupply them, and once you die with them, they're off the battlefield. So again, DICE's way off of, I think, leaning a little bit more off of making it more a competitive game and bringing in a deeper look into our actual classes. So interesting stuff going on here from DICE. I myself am pretty intrigued still, so definitely still keeping the hype going. Looking forward to all of the EA gameplay reveal we'll be seeing coming up here soon. But that is it for you guys today. Again, always appreciate you guys being here. I am Livin', and I'll catch you guys again later.